I request everyone to kindly mute their mics.
तू बोलली आता?
In 20 minutes, we are going to do Q&A. Does that work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. And I apologize. And if you guys
Sure,
have your
ma'am.
questions, please reserve your questions for the end. Works?
Ma'am, with due permission, may I begin?
Yeah, please, Harshi, please go.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, hello everyone and welcome. So glad to see you all joining us today. Let me just give everyone a few seconds to settle in. And once again, a very warm good evening. So, I'm excited to be hosting this session today. We have a fantastic evening planned for you, and I can already see we have people from all over joining us, which is just amazing. Now, for those of you who might be joining us for the first time, let me quickly tell you about the Legal Quorum. We are an evolving legal platform dedicated to helping law students and young law professionals through quality education and skill development. Our mission is simple to bridge the gap between classroom learning and the practical legal skills you actually need in the real world. We have a blog offering publication opportunities, and we organize webinars and interactive sessions like today's, bringing together experienced professionals who share their insights to help you in your legal journey. And the best part, most of our sessions are absolutely free because we believe quality legal education should be accessible to everyone. So, thank you for being part of our community and for joining us today. Now, let's talk about today's topic. We are discussing something really interesting and honestly pretty unique in the legal world. We are diving into fashion law, and I know what some of you might be thinking. Fashion law? Is that even really a thing? Trust me, it absolutely is, and it's growing fast. Now, I'm really excited to introduce our speaker for today. We have with us Diya Kumar ma'am, who is the founder and principal counsel at Legal Luxe. Diya ma'am is a fashion and intellectual property lawyer, and her firm helps fashion, luxury, and creative businesses. She helps them with brand protection, contracts, and making sure they follow all university. So she has both without any more delay. Let me hand it over to Diya ma'am. Diya ma'am, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Harshi, and thanks for the lovely intro. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad that we are here today. It's not every day that we get to talk about law, luxury, and creativity all in one space. Harshi has already given my thorough introduction, but to reiterate, hi, I'm Diya. I am founder of Legal Lux and a former professor from OP Jindal Global University. I hold specialization in IP and commercial laws from the University of Cambridge. Now, we are here to talk about fashion law. And if you were to ask about my path a traditional or a conventional field. It's something really one day I decided I woke up with the thought that I'm going to be L Woods of fashion law. That's clearly now not how it happened. I started with a commerce degree, and my interest in fashion law evolved through law school, and it finally flourished when I realized that fashion, one of the most creative, expressive, and fast moving industries, needed as much legal help as your corporate or tech world. And I was hooked. So if you are here today, chances are that you're a little bit like me, curious and creative, wondering how to create a career in law that goes beyond litigation and corporate boardrooms. So, hi everyone, welcome once again. Let's get started and let's talk about fashion law. So, first things first, what even is fashion law? I mean, it's a legitimate question, right? Because this is something that I, for one, was not taught in law school, and I mean, I am sure it holds true for most of you out there, right? Hence, this question: what is fashion law? It's a very justified question. It's a very reasonable question. Now, since many people are unaware as to what the field is all about, automatically there are various myths surrounding it. One myth being that it's a niche area. When I say it's a niche area, what I mean is that it's a very specific area. So I'm going to burst that myth for you. No, it's not a specific area, right? It's not as specific as you say your family law is or your criminal law is. In fact, as a matter of fact, it's multidisciplinary. Okay. Now, what do I mean by fashion law being multidisciplinary? This is the analogy that I really, almost always use, and I love it. So you need to think of fashion law as a wardrobe. Okay. Now, in this wardrobe, different fashion outfits come together to curate your wardrobe. What are these legal outfits? Okay. These are certain subjects like IP, contracts, labor laws, environmental laws, advertising, and consumer laws. All these subjects, once very specifically and thoughtfully put into your fashion law wardrobe, it will create this curated, beautiful mix, which we call fashion law. Okay. Now I'm going to give you an example and break it down further for you. Now think of this brand, Peach Lane, right? I'm a designer who come up with a new fashion line called Peach Lane. And as a designer, there would be different legal subjects, legal outfits that will come into play to help my fashion brand flourish. Okay. For starters, I would need to protect this logo of Peach. I would need to protect the brand name Peach Lane, hence IP, right? Trademark will do that for you. Your Chanel logo, your Gucci logo, trademark, IP law. If tomorrow I were to design a new line, I would draw these sketches, copyright will come into place. Then, if I want to diversify and and also introduce bags into my fashion business, and these bags are very uniquely shaped, design laws will come into picture. IP law, your one aspect, your one fashion outfit. Moving on, contracts. See, contracts are very important when we talk about fashion and fashion industry in general. Because what are contracts, right? Contracts define relationship between two parties. And when we talk about fashion industry, there's this whole big supply chain, right? And it's a very complicated supply chain. And my belief is that fashion industry thrives on contracts, right? As a brand owner, Peach Lane, I would need contracts at every stage of my business. Let me break it down for you guys. Tomorrow, I would need to source raw materials. I will have to enter into a contract with the suppliers of those raw materials, right? Now, if I were to outsource the production of my clothing line, I would enter into a contract with the manufacturers, a manufacturing contract. Now my this entire fashion line is ready. I would need to market it, and I choose to market it through Instagram, through influencers, right? Then I will enter into influencer collaboration agreements. You see how contracts are required at every stage of my business. So yes, if you were wondering who write those fine prints when Kendall Jenner is say fronting a brand campaign, it's a fashion lawyer, right? Now moving on. Let's talk about labor laws. I don't know how many of you have heard about Rana Plaza tragedy, which happened in Bangladesh back in 2013. There was this multi-storied building which had factories running for your fast fashion brands like Inditex Group, Walmart, and whatnot. Okay, and on that unfortunate day, that building collapsed, and thousands of workers lost their lives. What's even more unfortunate is that the management was told that the building is in very poor condition and they should prioritize stopping the operations. But they did not, because there were orders pending, there were profits at stake, and hence there was human cost that was involved, right? Labor laws make sure that incidents like this do not happen. What is even sadder is that this problem is just not limited to your fast fashion industries. You must have heard of instances with your luxury brands like Armani, Dior, right? Made in it, so-called made in Italy tag. There have been instances that have been brought forward about how these high-end brands also, employ these undocumented immigrants, and they work in very filthy conditions. So hence labor laws become very, very crucial, because once you realize that in this industry, the laborers are A, underpaid, B, overworked, right? So yes, this tragedy, fast fashion, this Rana Plaza tragedy, and also the Made in Italy tag, the entire fiasco behind it was an eye opener, right? There was a fashion revolution that started. People started asking for who made my clothes? Are those laborers paid enough? Are they working in healthy enough conditions? Hence labor laws, right? As a Peach Lane brand owner, labor laws will help me make sure that if I have some cardigans working for me, I am paying them well. A, B, they are working sane working hours and in a good working conditions, right? Okay, moving on. Let's talk about environmental laws. I have already talked about human cost that is usually at stake when we talk about fashion industry. Now there's also environment cost, right? Especially with Gen Z. I love Gen Z. I mean, Gen Z is this generation who believes in buying values and not just clothes, right? They realize that what is going on behind the screen. We have these mountainous landfills filled with clothes made of cheap material, say polyester, that takes thousands and thousands of years to even, break down, because they are made of non-biodegradable materials. What then happens, right? They're contaminating our groundwater, right? They are coming into our entire food chain. So sad state of affairs, right? Hence your environment laws come into picture, right? From greenwashing laws to extended producer responsibility. Then, as a fashion owner of the Speech Lane brand, these environmental laws will make sure that tomorrow I do not go on claiming that my fashion brand is eco-friendly when it clearly is not. We have seen that happening with H&M. This entire conscious line, when there was this entire debate about whether or not this line is in actual conscious environmental friendly, because if I'm paying say 2,000 bucks, 3,000 bucks extra because I think as a consumer that this particular line is environmental friendly, but in reality it is not, then that's really sad, right? So your environment laws will make sure that nothing of that sort is happening. Moving on. You have advertising laws now. As I said, I have this brand Peach Lane. Now I would want to enter into this collaboration with an influencer to market my line, right? And I would have to make sure that all these advertising laws are adhered to. I don't know about you guys, but digitalization has changed the entire landscape of how we shop today. For me, at least, Instagram has become a catalog, right? I scroll through Instagram. There are so many product recommendations from skincare to cosmetics to even what is trending today, right? And imagine all of us have these influencers that we love, and we believe them. Whatever reviews they are giving us, we believe them, and then we get stuck into this loop and we really want to buy the next big thing that they are talking about, right? And if those influencers was not, asked to tell us that they are being paid for it, now that would be really unfortunate, right? So your advertising laws make sure that influencers disclose that they are paid, that they are being paid for giving that sort of review to you guys, right? Hence, I'm sure you must have seen hashtag ad or this tag of paid partnership on certain Instagram reels, so that it makes their consumers, make their watchers, make their followers aware that they are being paid for that certain review. So you realize that how fashion law is basically everywhere, right? From your stitching to your showrooms and even in your hashtags, quite literally, right? So I hope by now we know that fashion law A is not specific, right? B, it's multidisciplinary, and there are different subjects that come into play when we talk about fashion law. Now, moving on, we have established that yes, there's a field called fashion law. Yes, it exists. But the next question is, what do you even do with it, right? Spoiler alert, no, fashion law is not limited to just suing people for stealing logos. I mean, I understand that most of the people out there think that majorly fashion law is about, oh my God, my logo was stolen by this XYZ random company, and that is all fashion law is all about. But apparently, it is not. It is just one leg of it, but you are also missing 90% of the runway. Fashion law goes way beyond courtrooms and cease and desist letters. You need to understand that it is $2.5 trillion industry, and someone needs to make sure that A, it runs legally, and B, it runs ethically. That is where lawyers come into picture, okay? From preventing knockoffs to negotiating deals, influencer collaborations, factory audits, everything, lawyers become crucial at every step, okay? So hence fashion lawyers are, since fashion law is a thing, so are fashion lawyers, and fashion lawyers' role needs to be understood and appreciated. So there are different career paths that you guys could explore. I will try to walk you through different career paths one by one, right? Just a second. Okay, give me a second. I'm just gonna have some water. Okay, first is in-house legal counsel. Okay, what do you mean by in-house counsel, and how as a fashion lawyer you can work in-house? I would say this is for someone if you love fashion and if you also love stability. I mean, hello, paid leaves. We all love paid leaves, right? So this might be for you. Now, coming back to the example of Peach Lane that I gave you, I'm a fashion designer, right? I have this brand called Peach Lane. As a fashion designer, I would only be bothered with A, the creative side of my business, right? And also maybe the business side of my business, because there are a lot of things that go into it, right? And when we talk about the legal aspects, that might really take a backseat, okay? That might not even come into picture. It would come into picture only when I realize, okay, now things have gotten south, right? This is where I would want an legal person to work with me closely. And if that legal person is working for me, right, and with me, that would mean that the person is working as an in-house counsel. Okay. So basically, as an in-house counsel, you will be the behind the scene fixer. You will not be on the runway, but behind the scene. And it is because of you who would make sure that the business is running smoothly without any litigation, without any PR disasters, without any regulatory fines. Right. Now, as an in-house person, you would be the legal backbone of that fashion company. For my brand Peach Lane, my legal counsel would be maintaining all those contracts from the suppliers to manufacturers to the influencers, everything, right? It would be maintaining the entire IP portfolio for me. It would be making sure, the person would be making sure that I am compliant to all those ESG regulations, labor laws, everything, right? So basically, my in house person will be the legal guardian of all my assets, right? The legal hype woman for me. Yeah. So when I say in house, think of brands like Nike, think of brands like H&M, closely are basically their in house counsel, right? And as an in house counsel, you will also have certain soft powers. Now, what are those soft powers? You will get to have a seat with a creative director, right? And even at times with the CMO, your agency and stylists of celebrities and influencers and everyone, you will be sitting at the table and strategizing the next big move. Your only task here is to know how to translate your legal language into brand strategy, because you will be the brain behind that as well. For example, you will be the one telling that whether or not that collaboration makes a commercial sense, whether that viral TikTok or Instagram campaign is compliant to your advertising rules and regulations or not. So, yes, as an in house person, you will be reviewing contracts, but you will also be someone who will be shaping that brand's identity, ethics, and long-term risk profile. Okay, so very, very crucial role here as an in-house counsel, but a lot of stability, also very smooth journey. I hope that is clear. Moving on, law firms. I am pretty sure that is one of the most traditional way how you can work very closely in this industry. Now, law firms are for someone who loves structure. If you are someone who loves deadlines, client calls, and the adrenaline rush that a season disease, filing of a season disease might give you, this might be for you. Okay. Now, law firms is a place where you would get to do like pure IP work. Okay. Firstly and foremostly, I really need to ballpark one thing. Since fashion law is an emerging and an evolving field, you would barely find a firm that is marketing itself as just fashion law firm. Hence, you will usually find these law firms with really good IP departments, really which have like good fashion related clients. So it's a good practice area because you will get to do pure IP work here. Okay, you would not be as an in-house counsel usually does, that is managing the internal risk profile. You would not be doing that, but you would be someone who would be setting legal precedents, negotiating deals, litigating on behalf of smallest and the biggest names in the fashion industry. Now, let me walk through the kind of work that you might be doing. Okay. You might be working with, say, indie designers or the legacy brands out there and helping them with their IP profile, their trademark filings, their copyrights, and whatnot. Right. Then you might be enforcing trademark and copyright rights. We know that digitalization has changed the entire landscape as to how things work now, right? There are platforms like Amazon, Meesho, and whatnot, where we see that there are so many infringements happening every day. So this particular lawyer who is working with the firm would make sure that your rights are enforced timely and appropriately, right? Then there are licensing agreements, right? That might be one thing that you might be drafting, because in fashion industry especially, there are a lot of collaborations that are happening. Okay, for example, very latest Murakami and LV. So Murakami and LV collaboration happened back in the day 2005 or sometime around then, and now again the Murakami collection is back, right? So this, how is this even taking place? That's a collaboration, because that is LV's IP, which Murakami was allowed to use in his art, a collaboration. As a fashion lawyer, you will be the one who will be drafting that agreement to make sure that collaboration goes on smoothly. Something closer to home, collaboration between, say, a designer and a fast fashion brand like H&M and Sabyasachi happened maybe like 2 years ago around Diwali, if I'm not wrong. So again, a collaboration, a licensing agreement. As a fashion lawyer working with a law firm, you might also be advising brands on the strategy. For example, what to name their collection or what not to name their collection. If you have luxury brands in your portfolio, you might be also helping them scale globally. So once you are doing that, you would be navigating IP treaties, Madrid trademark filings, and even litigating in the foreign jurisdictions, right? So in India, especially, there are certain firms that have good IP practice and have good fashion industry clients. Anand and Anand is one. Sai Krishna is another, Remfree and Sagar is another. So there are firms, and this is where you can get like a hands-on experience related to fashion industry and a good experience. Okay, that is something I can vouch for. But you should be prepared that it would mostly be leaning towards the IP side of fashion law, right? Now I have covered two career paths till now. Moving on, independent consultant. Okay, this is what I do, right? So basically, when I say independent consultant, it means lawyer meets creator meets chaos manager. What I mean by creator, I will come to that. What do I mean by chaos manager? I will come to that, right? But yes, if you are someone who likes a mix of law, entrepreneurship, content creation, and public education into this one highly unpredictable but rewarding career, this might be your vibe. Okay. Now, as an independent consultant, you might get to work with different kind of clients across the board. Okay. Let me give you this picture as to what kind of clients you can expect to work with. Uh, New designers, upcoming designers, we see how suddenly there is this trend of homegrown brands, all these designers. Now you need to understand these people are someone who may not be even aware that they require legal help, and even if they are aware that they require legal help, they would be terrified, right? Terrified to launch their new collection. And if someone is at that stage, they would come running to that independent consultant because they would want that person to cover all of their legal tracks. Okay. So you can expect such clients if you are working independently. Then you can expect to work with influencers so that you are someone who is helping them to prevent from shady deals, right? Environmental friendly brands and designers who are now coming up, although they are more bothered with impact than profits, but they also need IP protection. They also need legal protection. So these are also kind of clients that you might find yourself working with. Moving on, then of course there are boutiques. Like especially in India, we see how there are like small boutiques who need big brand protection and like this small brand budget. Okay. So yes, as an independent consultant, you will have different kind of clients across the board, and there will be different kind of work that you would be doing, from drafting contracts, reviewing contracts, to managing IP. Uh, so that is one thing that you would be doing, which is almost exactly the same what law firms and your in-house counsel would be doing. But there's something else that you might be doing, which is creating content. Now, what do I mean by creating content? I will come to that. But I will tell you that why would you be creating content? Okay, when I say create content, I do not just mean Instagram. Okay, that is what we usually, you know, click to when I say content, but that is not what I mean. When I say create content, it could be anything: LinkedIn, Instagram, even writing papers, getting them published, attending a workshop like this, webinar like this, and posting about it. That is also as good. Okay. But why would you even need to do that, right? You are a working professional. You do not need to do that, right? But you really need to. I'll tell you why. As an independent consultant who is working independently, chances are you need to establish yourself, and only then your practice will pick up. From To help you navigate your journey from where you are going to clients to making your clients come to you, you need to pitch yourself, right? You need to establish yourself as a thought leader. Why would otherwise clients come to you, right? You need to build this thing for yourself so that, okay, people see, oh, I can trust that person. Oh, this person knows what he or she is doing. And only then people will come to you. So remember, I said lawyer meets creator, hence the creator. And it is important that you create something so that people know, okay, you can be trusted. I hope that makes sense. Moving on, when you are working as an independent consultant, your role would not be limited to just being a lawyer. You will be the trusted advisor of your clients and even at times their part-time therapist, believe me. And hence I said chaos manager. Okay. But we need to do some real talk here. Okay. Being independent consultant is really good if you like the autonomy and if you like being at intersection of say law, culture, and commerce. It's really it's very rewarding. Okay. But it's not for everyone because A, it's demanding, B, there is no clear structure. As someone who is working independently, I can vouch for a fact there are no fixed hours. Okay, you would not know when to clock out, for example, right? There is no HR sitting over me making sure that I am being paid on time, right? You need to know when to how to pitch yourself. That is why I said create content, make clients come to you and you are not going to your clients, right? And you also need to know that you need to invoice on time and only then your payment will come through. Okay, so there are a lot of factors that you need to take into consideration before you decide that you want to go independent with your practice. And let's be very honest, not everyone's circumstances are such that they can afford to go independent. I hope you understand what I mean by that. But yes, if you are someone who thinks that you have enough experience and it is in you to go independent and you can afford that, then of course like it is a very good combo if you are someone who can file applications and who can draft contracts but also know how to go viral over all these digital platforms out there. It's a good combo. But hot tip here is you need to be very strong hearted. You need to know that you can build a niche and a following without waiting for a promotion because your voice is going to be your only business card. Okay. I'm happy to talk more about it and my journey, and we can talk about it anytime whenever you guys want to. But yes, because this is something that I have an experience in and I can tell you about it. Moving on, academia and research. Okay, this is for writers. If you love writing, if you love deep dives, and if you like citations and love making them aesthetic, this might be for you. If you are a writer, if you're a thinker, a question asker who wants to shape, the future of fashion law, this might be your vibe, and you might instantly click. But usually, the role of working into academia and research is usually understated. Because I would tell you, as someone into academia, you can have different roles, you can work in different ways. Of course, teaching is one, but you do not have to teach like fashion law per se, like as this broader subject. As I have already established that there are layers to it, and you can also pick up certain niche under it, right? It could be sustainability and fashion law, it could be luxury law. Okay, it could be anything. So sky is the limit when I say teach fashion law. Now, other thing that you could be doing is research and publications, right? Okay, there are another like hot button topics like AI generated designs, then eco certification scams. So you could be researching on these topics and also getting your research published, because again we need to understand that fashion law is an evolving field. There are a lot of gray areas and your research is honestly it's going to fill in all those blank spaces, so you are going to be someone who's making a real difference out here. Okay, so that is another thing that you can find yourself doing if you are into academia. Then you can also be developing curriculums. Okay, now all these universities and educational institutions out there, now they're suddenly coming up with fashion or related courses, if not full blown degree, but like short courses, electives, and whatnot. And if you are someone who is already established working into academia, chances are that you are on the panel and developing the curriculum for the course. That could be one thing that you might be doing. Then we have, yes, then you would be like, organizing and attending all these talks, summit, from WIPO panels to, on fashion tech and whatnot. You could be a speaker, because you need to realize when you are teaching and writing and publishing into this field, you are not doing it for ivory towers. Whatever you write, whatever you publish is going to shape real life policy debate. Because there are certain fields that are still unexplored, legislation and policymakers are still figuring it out. So you basically, because all these upcoming legislations, also from your greenwashing laws to your extended producer responsibility, your waste framework directive, these are not happening in a vacuum, right? All the research and all the teachings, all the publications, research actually provide these new upcoming legislations, a foundation. So hence you will be making like a real time difference. Yeah, so but you need to understand your role would not be limited to just teaching. You would instead laying down this foundation for future fashion lawyers. Like I think that's like a huge responsibility, because that is something I started with working with Jindal, right, as a professor. And honestly, it grounded me. It gave me space to think about this field, right? How it works, who it leaves behind, and what needs to change. Okay, so that was like a good hands on experience to understand this field with much more closeness. So, yes, if you are someone who like much more thoughtful and slower pace, this might be for you. If you like footnotes, are not ashamed of it, this might be for you, right? And if you want to shape why a fashion law and not just how, this might be for you. Okay, so 4 career paths, very interesting career paths. You need to decide what is the right fit for you. Okay, you could pick any, and each comes with its own pros and cons. So you need to decide what would work best for you. Okay, now I have already laid down certain career paths, and you need to know that your career doesn't have to fit into a box. You can, of course, build a runway of your own. Decide. Okay, the ball is in your court, and decision is all yours. Right now, okay, moving on. Education and upskilling. I am often asked, do we need a degree to work in this field? Answer is no, but it might help. You need to think of your specialization, which is an LLM or short courses, as a finishing school in fashion law. Okay, it is not mandatory, but it will make you fluent in the language of this industry. And there are certain solid options if you're looking for specialization in LLM in fashion law. Of course, there's Fordham University, the OG university, which came up for the fashion, which came up with this fashion law specialization, the very first university out there to do that. You have QMUL in London, which very recently introduced an specialization in fashion law. Then you have Lewis University, which is in Rome, and it could be a great option because A, it's based in Europe, and all your good high level designers, high level brands are Europe based, right? And if you feel that you do not have a resources or time to sign up for a full-fledged LM, I'm going to take a step back. If you do not want to do an LLM specializing just in fashion law, that is understandable, because even I did something like that. What I did was I did an LLM and with IP specialization instead, and tailored my subjects towards fashion law. Maybe that is also something that you could explore. Now, if you think that you do not have a resources, be financial resources, to commit There are these private platforms like Future Learn, Coursera, where they offer fashion or related courses from time and again. Now, if you do not want to put a hole in your pocket at all, understand information in today's day and age is free. All it takes is like one Google search and you will have all the information out there. I was not that lucky when I first started. There were not many resources out there, A, and they were not free, B. But if you really want to, then a Google search is all it takes. There are certain blogs who are doing really good in this field. There is the fashion law, there is business of fashion, there's Reuters, there is a page like mine. Of course, there are lot of resources out there if you really want to understand and know more about this field. Because no matter what you say, like even today I sign up for niche courses every now and then, because law is dynamic and fashion law especially is like very fast moving and evolving. So to keep yourself updated, you will have to sign up for niche courses every now and then. Okay, so there are various ways in which you can like build the actual theoretical knowledge. You need to decide which one to pick though. Internships and experiences. Okay, now this one is my favorite actually. I'll tell you why. Because everyone now knows that, okay, there is a thing called fashion law. B, there are certain good parts that you can explore. But how to get there, how to, form this foundation, a base, is something where most people get stuck at. Okay, I need to lay down two things here. To get there, you need to understand that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Okay, you need to build your profile slowly and gradually. B, don't be choosy with the kind of opportunity that come your way, because A, as how we say, every drop makes an ocean. So every opportunity, every single experience counts. So that being said, you need to understand that there are no brands or law firms out there with the department labeled fashion law. Okay, and to get a fashion law related opportunity is A, rare, B, very competent. So let's establish that. Moving on, as I said in the beginning of this session, that fashion law is multidisciplinary. So, how you can build your profile is to explore fashion law adjacent opportunities. So, how can you do that? You can work with IB law firms, you can work with media and entertainment teams, you can work with boutique firms that handle contracts, licensing, brand work. You can work with PR agencies that deal with influencer agreements. There are design studios out there that need basic legal help. Then there are e-commerce platforms who have to, which have to take care of a lot of regulatory compliances. You can work with them. Once you have this experience in multidisciplinary fields, you need to position it as fashion adjacent experience. Okay, so that's a good way to start and actually build a profile. So don't go, running behind fashion law related opportunities per se. There are other opportunities that you can explore. You need to know how to position it though. Okay, that is on you, because once usually we have experience, but we do not know how to vouch it to the recruiter out there. Once you understand that, once you know that, you are the winner, right? Opportunities are there. You just need to grab the right fit. Okay, this is something that I always say, like how we used to say, your network is your net worth, but in 2025, your digital presence is your resume. Okay, your people find you through your online voice. If you have applied for a job, chances are that your recruiters have already tried looking up on LinkedIn, on Threads, and on whatnot platforms out there. Okay. So you need to build your digital presence. Like how I said, create content. What I meant by creating content was not Instagram. LinkedIn is a really good option. You need to write papers, publish papers, just talk. Okay, you need to choose. When I say build your digital presence, you need to think of it as your personal style. You do not have to follow every trend out there. Your voice needs to be yours. right? And the catch is you do not have you do not need to have like this 50,000 following. All you need is clarity and all you need is consistency. Okay. So build something that is your own so that if tomorrow if I am a recruiter and you come up with an application, I need to see that you are someone who's actually interested. I might go on your LinkedIn. One fine day you chose, okay, I'm going to, this. There might be certain topics that you really feel about. It could be sustainability, it could be fashion tech, it could be anything. And I see that, okay, you are actually working towards it. You have some thoughts, you have some opinions, and that is what that would impress a recruiter at the end of the day. So build your digital presence. Choose your medium though. Okay, it could be anything, right? You could choose to write for a blog as well. Okay, you could choose to write a 2,000 word paper and get it published, right? If you are someone who is actually interested in fashion law, write about what you understood of this session, what you got to learn out of this session. It might really be a great way to start. And then build connections. Okay, network with people from law fraternity, network with brands, network with creative professionals out there, and always have an opinion. Okay, so that is what I always say: have an opinion and put your voice out there. So that is it for now. Thank you, everyone. I'm sure if you are here today, just if you are exploring or if you are already halfway through, know that I'm rooting for you. My DM is always open, my inbox is always open, and know that legal tea is always brewing. So time for Q&A. Please ask your questions away. Do not hesitate. I'm here to answer. Uh, Could anyone like moderate all these questions for me, and then I can just like take up the questions one by one?
Yes, ma'am, sure. Ma'am, that was incredibly insightful.
And
I think you have really opened our eyes to what fashion law looks like in practice. I'm
Mhm.
sure everyone here has lots of questions now. We
Yes.
have been collecting some questions in the chat, and I can see they're really coming in, which is really very great.
Mhm.
So, before we start with those questions, let me just remind everyone, if you haven't asked your question yet, now's the time. Just type it in the question and answer box or the chat, and we'll try to answer as many as possible.
Definitely.
So, ma'am, are you ready for some questions?
Yeah, I am. Please ask away.
Ma'am, one of the question is from Miss Shushmita Goswami.
Mm-hmm.
She's from Kolkata and she's a third year law student. She wants to build her career in fashion law.
Mm-hmm.
She's seeking your guidance on how to start and which firms she should intern with, both offline and online.
Okay, as I said, that you do not should not go around looking for fashion law related opportunities. They are very rare, very competent. What you need to do is you can do anything, honestly. Work with a law firm. As I said, Anand and Anand is a good option. Sai Krishna is a good option. Remfree and Sagar is a good option. I know again they're very competitive to get into these law firms out there. You can freelance. You can reach out to a person who is working as a fashion designer. You could reach out to him or her and tell them that, oh, you might be needing legal help in this. Because again, small steps build your path. You could reach out to an influencer and you could tell them, okay, this might be the collaboration that you are looking into. I might be able to help you. And if that brand does not give you a contract, I might be able to help and draft a contract for you. So I know, I understand, again, this is an evolving, it is an emerging field, and there might not be opportunities at the outset, but you need to go out there in the field and look for opportunities. So I understand that that is an extra work that you might have to put, but it is what it is. I hope that helped.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope Miss Shushmita got her answer.
Mhm.
Ma'am, the second question is from Mr. Naseem. He's asking why fashion law is more important in today's generation.
Okay, in today's day and age, it is important because, as I said, that fashion industry is a $2.5 trillion industry. We could understand the kind of impact that industry would have on us, right? And no matter what you say, even if you say that you are not someone who is into fashion, fashion is related to you. I don't know how many of you have watched Devil Wears Prada, where the actress there goes out on saying that I could not care more about fashion, but believe it or not, fashion is there, right? Fashion, and again, fashion has a lot of costs associated to it. As I said, human cost, as I said, environmental cost. So there are so many aspects with every day that are getting linked to this industry, that fashion law today is a thing. Back in the day, there were people who were contemplating whether or not we need to recognize fashion law as a different, as a specific field, like say sports law or media and entertainment law. But today it has just become inevitable. I hope that helped.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for explaining it so clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, shall I move forward with the next
Yeah,
question?
yeah, please do, please do.
Ma'am, Miss Leela is asking, like she's someone who is doing a master's in IP.
Mm-hmm.
What roles other than trainee roles, as they are really competitive, can she do which involves working for herself?
Again, as I said, like as I answered the first question out there, um, move out, freelance, ask for opportunities, seek opportunities, and once you get it, hold on to it and work towards it. That's the only way. Again, there is an extra work that you need to put, but that work is like non-negotiable. Hope that helped.
Okay, ma'am.
Mhm.
Ma'am, moving forward with the next question. Mr. Sam is asking, in fashion law, the role of an in-house counsel, does it include litigation, or he's to protect the business from litigation?
Okay, of course, it might involve litigation depending on the see. Majorly, as a lawyer, your work would be to make sure that the brand does not get into that muddy waters where they have to face litigation. Now, if it comes to that where they have to face litigation for one reason or another, then as a in-house counsel, you will be the one making sure that your client, your brand actually wins. So you might be litigating, you might not be litigating, will depend upon the brand that you are working with. For example, if tomorrow you're working with this brand, it so happened that somebody stole their trademark, their IP, you would send out a cease and desist letter. The person does not stop. Cease and desist, which is basically a legal notice. And after sending say 10 warnings, the person still do not does not stop. Of course, you would drag that person to court, and hence litigation will come into picture. So not so litigation might be a part of it, but not the only part of it. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Mhm.
Ma'am, the next question is from Miss Pooja. She's from Hyderabad, third year law student. She's
Mhm.
asking, how does fashion law differ from traditional intellectual property law?
Oh, as I said, see, IP is only one part of fashion law. Okay, again, this is like a lot of misconception. There's a myth, and honestly, if I'm being very, very honest, when I first, began my practice, there used to be people coming to me telling me that, okay, you are just trying to sound fancy here. What you basically do is just deal in IP, but that is not true. As I said, that fashion law is multidisciplinary and it is not just limited to IP. There are contracts involved, so hence contract law. There are labor laws involved. There are environmental laws involved. There's advertising. There is even customs. So there's like different layers to it. So to say that it is just related to traditional IP is actually undermining it when there is so much more to it.
Well said, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from Miss Yashika. She has been following your page, Fashion Law Guide, on Instagram for a very long time, and she just wants to know whether your firm offers internship.
Oh, of course, I do offer internships, but and for that you need to keep your eye out on my Instagram and LinkedIn page. Although I usually open up one or two spots only, but when I do again, it's very competitive because I get like hundreds and hundreds of application. But that being said, I do offer internship roles to students out there. So I might be, the next cycle might begin sometime in March, April. So keep an eye out.
Thank you so much, ma'am,
Mhm.
for this information. I hope everyone will be keeping their eyes on for the opportunity.
Wonderful.
So, ma'am, the next question is from Miss Shreya. First of all, she's grateful for this wonderful session, and she's like you have explained everything so very well, and she wants to thank you for this. So her question is that she's planning for doing LLM in corporate and commercial law, which also has IPR as a subject. So
Yep.
will this somewhere help her to build something in fashion law as well?
See, again, as I said, is specialization and IP, fashion, law, is it important? Yes and no, but again, there are other ways to build your theoretical knowledge related to fashion. See, I'm going to be very honest with why I chose getting my specialization in IP and commercial laws and not specifically in fashion law, because A, there was only one university, Fordham University, that was offering that course back in the day, but B, also because I did not want to spread myself so thin. Okay, does that make sense? Because there was like a lot of risk involved. Emerging field, evolving field, and doing an IP just specializing in fashion. And tomorrow, if there were to be no future in fashion, or it would have been like a really tricky situation for me. So, what usually people henceforth do is they usually go for commercial laws, corporate laws, and IP laws only, but then tailor their understanding towards fashion related courses. It might so happen the university that you are signing up to, they might have some fashion law related electives. So if they do offer that, you can sign up for that. And even if not, there are always courses out there. There are always there's always free knowledge and information on fashion law available out there. You can always, keep yourself informed and aware, and you can keep educating yourself. So it's okay, whatever path you choose, it's okay. You just need to make sure that it at the end it leads you to fashion now.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Mhm.
Ma'am, the next question is from Mr. Nasim. He's asking, do fashion law works in film industry, keeping in mind the real world application as a most important challenge from the competitor's end?
See, when we say film industry, mostly media and entertainment laws come into picture. So fashion law is like very fashion industry specific. Even though fashion law is like multidisciplinary in the way that it has so many subjects that come under its wing, but it's also niche in a way because the it's only fashion industry specific. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, the next question is from Ms. Katyayani. She's a fourth year law student from OP Jindal Global University, and she's very passionate about building a career in the field of fashion law.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, she's grateful for this webinar as it was truly very informative and insightful.
Mm-hmm.
And her question is, are there any mistakes that you commonly see young lawyers make when trying to enter this field?
See, honestly, I cannot generalize that there are certain mistakes that almost every young lawyer out there makes. I just feel that, if you are someone who really want to enter into this field, just like try. I feel what I would not even call it a mistake, but I would just say that maybe they're just not trying enough, because of course it's not like any of your traditional law fields out there. So of course it needs extra work. So once you accept that, and once you take it upon yourself as a challenge, and you are breaking that taking that extra mile to get there. I mean, if you're doing it, you're doing all good. But if you're not doing it, maybe you need to just like step up a notch. So yes, so no mistake per se, but just like this difference in attitude towards someone who is keen to enter into this field.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Mhm.
And ma'am, we are getting some really great questions. I can see people are curious about everything from career transitions to specific questions, which is really very fantastic. So, ma'am, moving forward,
Mhm.
uh, the next question is from Mr. Yash. He has thoroughly enjoyed the session and he has interest in IPR and is also pursuing a diploma in related fields. He has completed some freelance work in this area and he would be very grateful if you could kindly review his profile and offer him your valuable guidance.
Definitely, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my personal email ID here in the chat box. If you want me to look into your CV, or if you are someone who is applying for masters, and if you would want me to look into your SOPs, I can do that too. But please note, I would be able to do that only on weekends. But yeah, feel free to send those across. So here's my email ID. And I will try to get back to you guys as soon as I can.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are really grateful towards you.
Mhm.
Moving on with the next question. So, Miss Rimsha is asking what skills beyond legal knowledge are important for success in fashion law.
See, again, of course, see, legal knowledge is just theoretical aspect of it. Of course, you need practical knowledge, and you need to build that practical knowledge in the smallest, but in the perfect ways out there. Because of course, you might be working on a licensing agreement that comes as a fashion law experience. You work with the influencer that counts as a fashion law experience. You help someone file a trademark application that counts as a fashion or related experience. So all these little experiences count. So sign up for those experiences. Do not be choosy when it comes to the opportunities that come your way, or you go to those opportunities. Just choose them, but of course choose them wisely, but know that each and every opportunity that you undertake is going to make a difference tomorrow.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The next question is from Miss Sanya. She is
Mhm.
asking with regards to one who would want to take up IP as a career. So, do
Mhm.
you recommend doing masters first or having work experience first when it comes to IP law or fashion law?
Mhm.
Like, what would basically help us learn more and make us grow in a steady pace?
Listen, guys. Okay, let me ballpark one thing. When we say LLM, no, LLM is usually really good option when you want to get into academia per se, right? But it might not be the best option out there if you want to have a practice, be it as an in-house counsel, working with a law firm, or going independent. So you really need to decide whether or not you need an LLM to begin with. Of course, LLM is also good to have some, to network, to understand international legal frameworks, and to, expand globally. So it all depends on your end term goal. Where do you see yourself and how do you see yourself? And then analyze maybe the importance of that LLM degree for you. I went into LLM because I always wanted to get into academia. Hence, I joined Jindal. My alma mater, and work there as a professor. But life so happened that had to go independent. That is like a different story altogether. But you really need to analyze for yourself whether or not an LLM is like well suited for you and your career goals. Okay, so yes.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Mhm.
Next question is from Miss Yashika. She's asking that is fashion law only about corporate or it also includes the litigation part?
Of course, like corporate litigation, you pick your pick. Corporate, majorly, if you are not getting into IP related litigation, or to say contracts, also like once a contract explode and you find like a party at default, you might want to file a civil suit. Only then litigation comes into picture. Okay, so you decide. You can of course choose to work into the corporate side of it, and you can choose to work into the litigation side of it, or you can choose to work in both. For me, I do not take up litigation work at all. My litigation work is only limited to sending out legal notices, but then that's that. I usually limit my practice to corporate.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, are you open to some more questions? Like we have just 4 to 5 questions more, or
I think we should just wrap up right now. But that being said, you guys can always send across your questions to me on your on my email ID. Reach out on LinkedIn, reach out on Instagram, and I'm sure you guys have a WhatsApp group also. If the admin could add me to the group, I would be able to answer your questions over WhatsApp as well. So I'm here, guys. I'm my DMs, my inbox always open. So come, reach out. I will be more than happy to answer your queries.
all right, everyone. I think we are coming up on time, and ma'am has some other engagements as well. But it was an amazing session. This has been. And ma'am, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today. I think what really came through is that fashion law is not just about luxury brands and expensive fashion. It's about protecting creativity, understanding how business and law work together, and finding practical solutions for real problems that creative businesses face every day. And ma'am, from my personal end, really very thank you for such a truly enriching session. Your explanations were exceptionally clear and insightful, and the way you broke down the complex ideas made the learning experience both engaging and meaningful. Beyond your expertise, your grace, warmth, and beautiful positive aura created a comforting and inspiring atmosphere throughout the session. Listening to you was not just informative, but genuinely uplifting, and it left a lasting impression on all of us. So thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Harshi. You were a brilliant host, and you brought forward the questions in a very, very well articulated manner. That being said, it was lovely chatting with you all. I hope I was able to answer most of the questions out there. But that being said, if you have any further doubts, reach out. I'm always here. So this is my Instagram handle. You can reach out over DMs as well. I'm almost always available, but please give me at least 2 business days to get back to you guys. But I always do get back. It would mean the world to me if you could come up and give me your reviews about this session, the topics that I should have covered, and I would try my best to accommodate all your requests in the future sessions out there. Lovely chatting with you all. I hope I'm going to stay connected with each one of you. Thank
Thank you.
you, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a great evening. Happy New Year's and lovely holidays, guys. Bye bye.
Happy New Year, ma'am. All right, for everyone who attended today, I hope you are taking away some new ideas. Whether you are a law student thinking about your career, a lawyer looking to work in a new area, or someone working in the fashion industry who wants to understand the legal side better, there's something here for everyone. So, a few quick things before we finish. First, this session has been recorded and we'll share the recording with everyone who registered. So, if you want to watch anything Diya ma'am said again, or if you know someone who couldn't join today, you'll have access to that. Second, if you want to connect with Diya ma'am or learn more about Legal Lux, we'll be sharing her contact details in a follow up email. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have specific questions or if you're working on something that might need her help. Also, she has tagged her email and Instagram handles in the chat box itself. And finally, thanks to the Legal Quorum for organizing this wonderful session. If you enjoyed today's webinar, keep watching for future events. They regularly host these kinds of practical, helpful sessions that really connect legal theory with real practice. So, all right, everyone, that's it for today. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you at the next session. Take care, everyone. Goodbye. And kindly don't forget to fill your feedback forms.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.